Up next, we are going to cover how we can import other people's functions that they've written and use them in our code. Now, before we get technical, close your eyes and imagine you are trying to build a house. Sure, you could grow your own trees, chop down your own wood, make your own tools and nails, and build it up from scratch. But why do that when you go simply to your local Home Depot and buy these materials that others have already made ready for you? That's the main idea behind importing functions into your code. Importing functions allows you to gain access to libraries of functions that other people have already made for you. This is just as useful as it sounds. There are so many functions that are super useful for any given program that it will take you forever to write them all yourself. Luckily, other people have already done most of this for you. In each programming language, you are able to use an import statement to import libraries of functions into your program that you can use as you write it. A library is simply a collection of functions that all have the same theme. It may be a math library, a data analysis library, a library which translates text, or anything that you can think of really. There is such a variety of libraries for any given language. The most functions you require that are not hyper-specific to your program can likely be found in some library. In fact, a good portion of any programmer's job is looking online for packages which can make his or her job easier instead of handwriting functions. Now I can hear you saying, wow, that's sick, how do I do it? Well, it's quite simple. An import statement. In most languages, an import statement consists of three parts: the library you would like to import from, the package you would like to import from that library, and then which class from that package you would like to use. For example, we could load up the Java library and from there import the util package, short for utilities. Then from this util package import the scanner class, a class which allows us to read information from the user. A package is simply a smaller set of functions and methods to help differentiate between the thousands of methods contained in a library. And class even more specialized than that. Now, if you don't know what specific classes you are going to want to pull methods from, you can use a star to import all classes within the package you would like. However, it can be beneficial to be more specific and only import the classes you would like, as it helps with the efficiency of the program in the long run. For instance, in Python, the syntax to import a library is import followed by the library name. However, importing an entire library is more computationally taxing than importing specific functions from a library. Imagine you would only be using the factorial function from the Python math library. It would be a waste of computing power to import the entire library and would increase the load time for your program. For smaller programs, this isn't a big deal, but it really starts to add up when dealing with larger projects. Therefore, you would instead use from math import factorial or the Java equivalent import java.math.factorial and now have access to that one math comment only. This limits the functions that you can use. However, it saves programming runtime. If you decide you want to use another function that you hadn't planned for, you can always go back and import that too. Many times, if you try to use a function from a common package and you have not yet imported it yet, the IDE will prompt you to do so. If you are trying to figure out which libraries you want to import, think of the functions you are going to need in your program. Perform a simple Google search and you will probably run into a package of library that already exists in your IDE that you can use. And if you can't, there are ways to download and import additional projects to fit your needs you are looking for. But if after all of that you still can't find a library that contains the function you are looking for, well, that's a perfect segue into what we are going to talk about next, which is the basic structure for writing your own functions.